We are all swinging like a pendulum through duality at times. To free ourselves from this swing through duality and into wholeness, we need to identify that internal process, spectrum, and allowance. In PSA, we will dive into the process within spectrums that are pushed by momentum, which create the structured illusion of our movement through cycles. The same cycles and patterns that form our lives. With body balancing techniques, I'll bring to light new ways that we can practically shift out of oscillation and into direction, shifting our whole paradigm. Welcome to your weekly PSA. Welcome to PSA. Today we are going to be delving into thought theory. A lot of us have a bunch of theories. Taking, for example, how they just discredited Albert Einstein, the godfather of physics that brought you the theory of relativity. Now, just think about that, right? We all believe in science. I have so many friends that we've had conversations about what's happening in the world and things that are going on and really listening and connecting with us as individuals. And it's just like nobody believes anything that a friend will say. It's just a theory, right? But even when you think about it back then, before we had, social media, before we had Twitter, perhaps before we had all of this media and this influence, you have a guy that studied science, studied philosophy, and really was just a student at the end of the day, and submitted something to the world that literally said it was the theory of relativity. So why is it that we discredit theory so much, but yet we've believed science's theories, which are just thought? So here in this PSA today, this is what I want to break down. I want to break down this process. I want to break down this spectrum and the allowance that we choose to bring into our life and how we can shift that paradigm into bringing back the power of our thought and our theory. We're going to be looking at finding the truth in theory, bringing that second-guessing thought process and balanced body feeling to bring harmony into the heart. Let me ask you a question. What came first, the thought or the feeling? The communication between our body and our mind is one that is of the first communications from the splitting of the first cell. It has then been seen as which one has a deeper standing. The truth is that they're both equal. And this is the underlying split of what we experience as humans to our core of self. Now, how do your thoughts become victims to our feelings and vice versa? Either way you put them, they're disallowing us command of our systems consciously, and that's what we all want, right? We want conscious command over our thoughts and also our systems, but do we ever take into account what these systems are and what language are speaking? We do what we believe is right in a dualistic point of view. So what tells you what's right and what's wrong? It's a manner of what our consciousness is settled into or calibrated towards that becomes what we listen to. Whether it be our body or our mind, this enables dissonance. And dissonance is really how we can just break it down is distance. If there is a communication that's happening within your mind, if your mind speaks in, let's say, words, right? When you hear something, you bring it in, it gets processed in your mind. But when you hear words, your body doesn't feel anything. So that's not the language of your body. So there's a distance between those words and what your body is feeling. Maybe your body has that language and it receives through feeling or touch or sensation. So words don't really have that sensation. So if there is a process coming in by somebody saying something and giving you a thought or a theory, and your mind wraps around that, but your body doesn't, then this enables that dissonance between your mind and your body. Now, may I suggest that a belief is a thought that's just chronic? Do you agree? If not, we can stop here because it's going to get a little shifty for you. If you agree that the universal law of the mind is all, then you can agree that what you believe is a thought that has just been running chronically, and now it's a part of your being and has yet to leave. Belief. In that perspective, it's sure to say that either our thoughts come from our external preconditioning, or that they are an echo from our body, which is a storage unit of energetic sensations put into motion, emotion, or maybe it just came out of thin air. Either way, they're recorded and stored for our conscious access. Depending on how we receive them, that's how we record them. So if we do have this dissonance between our mind and our body, then when words come in, we either store them in our mind, which creates brain fog, anxiety, depression, all types of things. If we store them in our body and we store all these feelings, then they get separated from that thought or that word. So we begin to store it in our liver, in our energy, in our emotions. So it gets trapped in that a physical, emotional body, creating more dissonance. The ability to access these beliefs or thoughts and these energetic sensations or emotions means that they are within us at any given time. We always have access to them. It's a matter of how do you communicate. When they are just potential and floating around within, they are just theories. Whether we respond to them or not is up to us. But can they be naturally created though? Instead of fighting over this dual communication of who comes first or who listens to who, we can bridge this gap by accepting that they are both meeting in the heart space, and that most times that is where the magnetization of both collide and create from. So what I'm saying here is, between that mind and that body, if you have these two languages and that information is stored in your mind or that information is stored in your body and there's some dissonance, what is the thing that's standing in between it? It's the heart. It's the magnetization of the heart. So when you have this dual communication, the thing that is really going to create coherence is stepping into that heart and really understanding and meeting both of those languages and figuring out how we can actually communicate that so that we can access this information. And this is where we get that thought theory, because those theories that are just running around, and if they don't have the space to actually move through your body, then you're not actually creating them. They're just echoes in a closed room. So I say all this to say that even if you have a theory, it is still a thought. And just as everything that has been created in this world was a thought, so is your theory, whether it's from your mind or your body. Keep this theory going, though. We keep it going with momentum. And as long as it rings true to you, this will remain your belief. And it will leave your being to resonate your deepest echoed truth into the world. We need more truth-based theory in this world. So let's start to harmonize our bodies in taking back that theory. When something is stored in the body, whether if it's pain, whether if it's joy, whether if it's arrogance, rage, whatever it may be, that theory starts to become the truth because it has nowhere to go, so it's trapped in the body. If you have a limitation of the mind, or imposter syndrome, or sabotaging, or self-harm in the mind, then it stays in a theory in that mind. It has no place to go, so it becomes that truth. When we begin to open our mind and open our body and open these communications between the two, then those two can actually have a conversation, and out of that conversation, you can start to create new thought theory placed into this world. And this, I believe, is the PS, that paradigm shift. By allowing and accepting our mind's theories and our body's theories to coexist, we can find truer balance and the continuity within our systems. This requires a keen listening to both of them without judgment or discrimination of who's right or who's wrong. They're both on the same team. So thank you guys for checking in today with Thought Theory. If you'd like some body balancing techniques, stay tuned, and I'm going to give you 3 steps that you can actually practically take and bring into your daily life and practice this thought theory and strengthening it. Number 1, it's going to be self-confirmation. In what ways are you certain about your belief? Take this for example. Sit down, take out a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, because I love pencils. Write out a belief that you have about something that may be causing you some resistance and confirm whether you still believe it or not. You can just simply put a yes or a no. Step 2, let's start calibrating that true north. How is your heart responding? When questioning this belief, notice what response it brings up within your heart, and if it is the same as what is on the other side of that resistance. This is how we begin to calibrate our true north. And step 3, we're going to go into body language ID, which is just identification. Who stored this theory? Leading with that question can bring us to allowing or disallowing this feeling. Notice where it came from and when it was planted in your body or in your mind. Using this body language ID can help to bring in the somatics of this. You can either bring your hand to that place in your body, or just even opening that connection and noticing and acknowledging where it is can help to bring a closer correspondence and coherence within that mind and the body. I encourage you to continue this practice by confirming with a written prompt of acknowledgement of how it is no longer your belief and a new creative action for the new narrative. Take this practice into your daily meditation for 15 minutes a day and begin to dissolve the theories that are outside your truth and accept the ones within. Thank you for tuning in to this week's PSA. I trust that with this widened perspective of simultaneous contrast, we can begin to identify and apply these practices to help self-regulate the momentum of these swings and dissolve rotating cycles into rocketing spirals. So I ask you, what swings you in and out of your alignment?